We're going to start today's practice with just taking a couple deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just grounding through the feet, maybe rocking back and forth to find your balance, to find your center. We're going to lift our hands up over our head, inhaling, maybe a slight back bend, and exhaling down, hinging at the hips. Dropping the hands down by the feet. I'm going to do a halfway lift and coming back down. Then step both legs back into a plank position. Slowly lower down for chaturanga, lifting the chest, bringing the elbows back. Inhaling here. And exhaling, untucking the toes and pushing back into downward facing dog. Pressing into the shoulders, bringing the heels down close to the mat. And you can stay still, or you can kind of walk the dog, bending the knees side to side, kind of opening up the hips and the shoulders and the feet. From here, we're going to bring our knees down, untucking the toes, and we're going to warm up the wrists. We're going to slowly do some finger push-ups. Just having all your weight forward and pushing up on the fingers. Then you're going to take each hand and reverse it back, facing your knees. Get a nice good stretch there. Maybe rocking back and forth or staying still. It's your choice. Then we're going to move into some gentle cat-cows. Engaging the core, you're going to drop your hips down, bringing your gaze up. And then tightening the core, arching your back up and bringing your gaze down. And do this a couple times at your own pace. Maybe rocking the hips a little bit. But if this is too much for your knees, then just keep doing a little bit more cat-cows. Listening to your body. We're going to untuck the toes and push back into another downward facing dog. And here we're going to take a nice little flow, going from downward facing dog to a plank and then pushing back to a downward facing dog. Do this a couple times just to kind of build the heat, have a little movement in your body. Maybe bending the knees, pushing down a little bit deeper. And we're going to slowly walk our feet to our hands. Very slowly, no rush. Coming down to a forward fold. Maybe grabbing the elbows and swaying a little. Or just staying still. And then coming up, bringing the hands up over the head into prayer position. And again, coming to the top of your mat, we're going to lift our hands up overhead. A slight back bend. And hinging forward at the hips, dropping the hands down by the feet for a forward fold, halfway lift, coming back down. We're going to step that left leg back, followed by the right, plank position. Coming down to a chaturanga, lifting up into upward facing dog, chest lifted high, pushing back into a downward facing dog. Bring that right leg high up into the sky, keeping the leg straight. We're going to bend the knee, bringing the knee to the chest, hovering it above the mat, and shoot it back up to the sky. We're going to bring that right knee and bring it all the way through for a crescent lunge, bringing the hands up over the head, remembering to breathe. And build a little bit of heat here. Placing the hands on the hips, we're going to bring that left knee down and press into the hips. Making sure the hips stay square. Coming back up to a crescent lunge. Bringing hands down to the mat, bringing that leg back into a plank position. Slowly lower down chaturanga, up to upward facing dog. Inhaling, exhaling as you come back down to downward facing dog. And the other side, bringing that left leg up to the sky. bending the knee into the chest, and shooting that leg back up high. Bringing that knee all the way through for crescent lunge. Inhaling, hands up. Maybe rock a little back and forth here. Hands on the hip, drop that right knee and press into those hips, opening those hips up. Remembering to breathe and smile. Bring those hands up, lifting that back knee back to Crescent Warrior. Hands down to the mat, plank position. Lower down, Chaturanga, up to upward facing dog. Inhaling, exhaling as you push back down to downward facing dog. Maybe hold here for a little bit, catch your breath. And then step right leg forward, left leg forward, forward fold. Halfway lift, exhale coming down. Inhale coming all the way up. Bringing hands down to heart center. And again, coming all the way up to the top of the mat, bringing hands up overhead. Reverse swan dive, coming all the way down, forward fold. Halfway lift, coming back down. We're going to step that right leg back, followed by the left into a plank position. Coming down to a Chaturanga, an upward facing dog. Inhaling, exhaling, coming down for downward facing dog. We're going to lift that right leg up high to the sky, adding a bend for three-legged down dog. Bringing the knee to the center and shooting that leg back up. Slight bend. Bringing the knee to the outside of that right elbow. Bringing that leg back up. Slight bend. And then we're going to bring that knee all the way through for Crescent Warrior. Standing tall, bringing the hands up overhead. Bring the hands to the hips. We're going to lower that left knee, pressing into the hips once again, just like before. We're going to bring that left hand up and over and grab onto those left toes. You're going to come up, hugging that left leg in as you sink down into the hips. Sinking a little deeper. We're going to press back into a half split. Coming back to crescent lunge, bringing that knee up, sinking a little deeper, bringing hands down to the mat, to plank position. Slowly lower down, Chaturanga, upward facing dog, pressing back into downward facing dog. Now the other side, we're going to bring that left leg up and back with a slight bend to open up the hips. And we're going to take that left knee and bring it to the center of the chest and hold. Shoot that left leg back. And we're going to bring that left knee to the outside of that left elbow. Bring that leg up and back once again, opening up the hips. We're going to bring that left leg all the way through Crescent Warrior, bringing hands up overhead. Inhaling, exhaling, hands to hips, bringing that right leg down and pressing into the hips. We're going to bring that right hand up and over, grabbing onto those right toes, hugging that leg in first, and then releasing and sinking down into the hips. Kind of a little hinging action going on to open up those hips just a little bit more. Releasing the leg, and we're going to press back into a half split with that left leg. Inhaling, coming back up, pressing one more time up into Crescent Warrior, hands down to the mat, bringing that leg back into plank position, and slowly lower down, Chaturanga, up into upward facing dog, pressing into downward facing dog, and breathing here for just a moment. And slowly walk your feet to your hands to a forward fold. A halfway lift, coming back down, bringing the hands up overhead. Inhaling, bringing palms together down to heart center. Now we're going to move down to the mat. If you take a seated position and slowly lower down so you're completely laying on your back. Just going to do a gentle spinal twist before we move into Shavasana. Bringing your legs all the way out. And we're going to hug that right knee into the chest and then bring that right knee over across your body, using that left hand to help guide it down and turning your neck to the right. Coming back to center. We're going to inhale that left leg into the chest and then slowly move that left knee across the body, using that right hand to help guide it and looking over to the left. Coming back to center. Placing one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. And just breathe here. Notice the movement of your chest and how your breath feels after your practice. Just take notice. Releasing anything that no longer serves you. Just be here. Be in the now. And when you're ready, bring your hands out to your side, palms facing up, and just breathe. You can stay here for as long as you want. Thank you so much for joining me for my practice, and I'll see you next time.